Okay, today you're going to review simple, compound, and complex sentences using this Google form and also IXL 6th grade X9. But before you start the form or the IXL, what I want you to do is open to the next page in your notes and copy these notes down as a review. So let's talk about sentences. A simple sentence, we'll remember that a simple sentence is also known as an independent clause. It has one subject and one predicate, one complete subject and one complete predicate, and it is a complete thought, one complete thought. Okay? So the next type of sentence we have is called a compound sentence. And you will remember that a compound sentence has an IC, a comma, a fanboy, and another IC. So a compound sentence has two independent clauses, and in between those two independent clauses is a comma and a fanboy. Okay? So a compound sentence actually has two complete thoughts. Two complete thoughts separated by a comma and a fanboys, or a coordinating conjunction. And remember that the fanboys are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. And we need to remember that it's just because there's a fanboy in a sentence does not make it a compound sentence. It has to have two ICs on both sides of the fanboy. If there are not two ICs on each side of the fanboy, it is not a compound sentence. And you do not need a comma. Okay, so remember that. If there's not two ICs on each side of the fanboys, it is not a compound sentence, and you do not need to use a comma. Okay, and our final type of sentence that we're going to talk about today is a complex sentence. And these are not new to you. We've had notes in practice with these. And a complex sentence, you can write it two ways. It is made of a dependent clause and an independent clause. So if the dependent clause comes first, you use a comma. If the dependent clause comes last, you do not use a comma, okay? So DC, comma, IC, period, or IC, DC, period. So remember that dependent clauses begin with subordinating conjunctions. And you can look back at your notes to where we wrote all of the subordinating conjunctions down, and you did an IXL about subordinating conjunctions, but we remember them with a white bus or a WUBUS. After, as, when, while, whether, if, that, even though, even if, because, before, until, unless, and since. Those are some of the most common ones. So that is a complex sentence. So that is a DC, comma, IC, or an icy DC. And now remember, there is another type of complex sentence that is made with a relative clause. And that is when the comma which comes at the end of the sentence. And you always use a comma with which. Okay? So now after you've finished writing those notes, I want you to use them to do IXL 6th grade X9. So we're going to go to IXL 6th grade X9. Is the sentence simple, compound, or complex? So you have to decide what kind of sentence is this. So let's look at this one. It's asking, which is a simple sentence? Many members of the cat family can purr, comma, but only tigers, lions, jaguars, and leopards can roar. Madison Chalk and Gracie Gold were two American figure skaters in the Sochi 2014 Olympics. Well, let's think about this one. My first option has a comma and a coordinating conjunction. And I know that many members of the cat family can purr. That's an independent clause. The subject is many members of the cat family. What do? They can purr. My second independent clause is only tigers, lions, jaguars, and leopards can roar. So this sentence pattern is I see, comma, fanboys, I see. That makes this a compound sentence. Madison Chalk and Gracie Gold were two American figure skaters in the Sochi 2014 Olympics. Well, if I look at the sentence, you say, well, I have a fanboy here. I have and, but do I have two ICs on both sides of the fanboy? No, I do not. So my simple sentence is this one. Now we're looking for another simple sentence. Freedom of speech and trial by jury are two important rights in the United States Constitution. Mayor Brock started a successful program for young musicians after he left city politics. Well, in my second sentence, I noticed that I have a white bus word, after. So this sentence is icy DC, because after he left city politics is a dependent clause. It has a subject and a predicate, but it also has a subordinating conjunction before it. So my simple sentence is the first one. This one is a complex sentence. So again, we're looking for the simple sentence. I can tell that this one has an IC, comma, fanboy, IC. And so my simple sentence is the first one. Okay, another simple sentence we're looking for. The American badger, comma, one of the fastest digging animals on the planet, comma, can dig quickly through both soil and concrete. Or, on the ferry to Ellis Island, comma, Anne took a photograph, comma, and now it's sitting in the frame on her dresser at home. I have a comma and a fanboy, and I have two independent clauses here. For this one, the American badger, one of the fastest digging animals on the planet, can dig quickly through both soil and concrete. This is a simple sentence with an interrupter. The reason why this has commas around it is that I can take it out of the sentence and the sentence still makes sense. The American badger can dig quickly through both soil and concrete. That is still a simple sentence. Okay, here we go. Is this a complex sentence? Our cat has been scratching himself more than usual, comma, so I checked him for fleas. Well, I have a comma and a fanboy. Our cat has been scratching himself more than usual is an independent clause. I checked him for fleas is an independent clause. This is not a complex sentence. It's a compound sentence. So we're looking for another complex sentence. Henry Bacon's design of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. won him a gold medal from the American Institute of Architects. There is no subordinating conjunction in this sentence. This is only an IC, so no, it is not a complex sentence. Now we're asked, is this a compound sentence? You can use your gift certificate for the one big purchase, comma, or you can buy a few smaller items. I have an independent clause, a comma, a fanboy, and an independent clause. So yes, this is a compound sentence. So you're going to keep going through using your notes and answering the questions. Simple, compound, complex. And you need to get this to above a 90.